If you're middle-aged and you have a relative, as I do, who has Alzheimer's, you think, not on a daily basis, but you wonder quite frequently, ever more frequently, am I going to get it? And I turn to the internet, indiscriminately, looking at every little study, and if I can't remember anything else, I can remember that I saw the other day. If your arm span is less than 60 inches, you're more likely to get it. So I jumped up, and I knew exactly where the tape measure was. And I'm not normally a very energetic person, but I could check right there, and fortunately, just made it a few inches over. Another risk factor is having a small skull, and I didn't read exactly how small a skull makes you a goner, but I usually have to get children's glasses, so I felt somewhat depressed. But I think the people who make the studies are often interested in proving that they are less likely to get it. So you have sort of a bunch of medicine ball-headed simians passing judgment on the rest of us. So I took a more scientific view. I took a test on the internet, made up by whom? And somewhere into it, there were questions I could answer. I felt okay about it. But partway through it says, you will be asked a question at the end of this test, and you need to answer it, and you need to remember the answer. And they give you the answer. So I proceeded at the end of the test, and I changed one word in it. It was a word that meant exactly the same thing as the word in the sentence, but it cost me a point. It made me a point closer to dementia. So I have no defense against these tests. So I've made up my own, though, because my mother has Alzheimer's, and I've found a few defining acts which can make it pretty clear to those who don't want to have a brain biopsy. One thing is, now, if you're troubled about doing your taxes, if you've had trouble with your finances for years, and if you decide the way to avoid any kind of question from the federal government about whether you've paid enough, and you pay $35,000, which my mother did, a retired woman in her late 80s, she sent a check to the government for $35,000. You've got it. You've got Alzheimer's. If you've always been a punctilious housekeeper and very proud of the beautiful little rugs made by child slave labor in other countries, highly priced, and if you've become indifferent to the fact that your cat is crapping all over the rugs, you neither smell nor see any problem, but your adult daughter visiting sees that the sun suddenly hits the carpet and all the spots show up. It was it was hard to see things on an Oriental pattern until the sun hits it. Then you've got it. So I rejoice in the fact that I still have some time if I'm going to get it. And if you're like me and you have siblings you despise whenever you get together on those rare, bitter occasions, we're all thinking, you bro, not me.